Welcome to Soul Thrive, where we explore spirituality through healing trauma, shadow work, and applying the laws of the universe in order to master ourselves without the fear of the unknown.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Soul Thrive podcast. We are excited about today's guest. So we have Jessica here, who is a clinical and therapeutic herbalist who's all about reconnecting people with the healing power of plants. So she helps people tap into plant spirit medicine, explore their own connection to nature, and open the door to safe, conscious use of mushrooms, ayahuasca, DMT. And on top of all of that, she's a teacher, a mom, an entrepreneur, and just a genuinely inspiring human being. So welcome, Jessica, to the podcast.
Hi, Jessica. Oh my goodness, so many good things all combined in one, which I love. So Jessica, what made you get into plant-based medicine? What was the inspiration there? Did you go through a spiritual awakening? Was there something specifically that you personally had gone through that made you connect to these plants? What do you think your process was?
So I was very sick when I was an early teenager. I was actually diagnosed with endometriosis.
Okay.
And I was on all sorts of just things from the conventional medicine side, birth control, naproxen for pain. And I came to the end of the road when my gynecologist was like, hey, if you want to have a baby, like we have to start putting you on hormones right now. And that's when I got my rude awakening. Okay, these people can't help me.
Right.
And I want to have a baby. I was young when I heard that, right? So to hear that I would need support when the time comes just really scared the shit out of me. And I was like, all right, I'm going to take matters into my own hand. And that's when I started studying to become a clinical and therapeutic herbalist. As you're learning, it's not just physically healing. We have to heal our physical body, but our mind, our spiritual well-being. And then that's how it all dwindled into everything that I do now.
Yeah. Endometriosis is such a huge thing. There's not enough research and it takes so long to even get diagnosed with endometriosis. And it's one of those things where, I know I have some clients who have suffered from endometriosis and it's been such a journey for them in so many ways. And they've had to have surgeries and they had severe infertility issues. So what were some of the plant medicines that you started to incorporate in order for your body to heal and have a baby? Because I know you have a kid. So what did you do? And that's not to say that it's going to work for everybody. However, if there's a solution for this to a degree, it would be amazing to hear what your personal process with that was.
Yes. So the first step was clearing my detoxification pathways.
Okay.
So think the liver. Are you having a bowel movement every single day? So some herbs for the liver that I use were dandelion root, also chicory roots. And chicory root, it also goes back to our roots and where we're from. So I'm Italian. Chicory root is cicoria, which connects me to my Italian heritage. My nonna, which is my grandmother specifically, that was a primary herb for me, for my liver, because that also helps to remove. There's something called xenoestrogens, which are the bad estrogens in the body. We want to clear those out. That way we can have the phytoestrogens, which are plant-based estrogens, which are not as abrasive as the bad estrogen. And then as for hormone regulation, a big herb for me was dong quai. It's called Angelica sinensis.
Okay. Yes.
It completely just opens the windows and allows your blood to flow. So when there's an imbalance, that means there's stagnation somewhere. Your blood can't freely go like a river. So there's old blood surrounding the uterus, surrounding that whole area. And so dong quai just flooded all that open.
I love how you said that you incorporated that cultural aspect within your healing too, because it plays such a huge component on your DNA, how you're made, your blood, everything. And so bringing in that aspect to bring that energy in and think about your culture and how you were raised and having that element of that energy, bringing in that ancestral stuff, that's huge for healing. And you did it on that level. I've never thought about it. I'm like, oh my God, I never thought about that before. Because I'm Greek. So I'm like, I wonder what herbs I could start to incorporate within my own being to
And whatever's popular.
okay.
I use it for everything, like hair, eyebrows, face,
Yes.
eczema, like everything.
Oh my goodness.
And I remember,
never
and
thought
I
about
Googled that, and then it's, of course, it's used in like Serbian medicine for centuries. So
Oh
it
my
makes total
goodness.
sense.
Okay.
You got to look it up. You
I-
got to see what's big in your region, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that something you would advise your clients as well?
Yeah, it's like, how can you step back into where your bloodline came from?
Yes.
And it also goes back to, we don't just get trauma passed down from us. We also have a huge toolbox from our ancestors. We don't acknowledge enough. It's, yeah, okay, I've inherited endometriosis from maybe my mom, my grandmother, but what strengths did I also get from them?
Yes.
So when you tap into the herbs that grows in the countries that you're from, magic happens.
I'm telling you guys, I'm like, how did I not make
Well, you have
sense
your
of
Greek
that?
tea. You know your Greek mountain tea that you're,
Yeah.
every time I come over, she's like, do you want to try this Greek mountain tea? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
To homework.
I'm curious. So what do people typically come to you for? What are you finding that people are struggling with the most lately? And where plant medicine can really help the most and have the biggest impact?
I attract mainly females who have hormonal issues that are linked to traumatic experiences that they've gone through. Truthfully, I love working with women like this because they're actually open to unraveling the trauma that they experienced. And it's so beautiful to watch how someone started with you and then how they evolve and how they've unraveled certain things. Because when you start taking plants, like these medicinal plants that I have, something shifts. I always tell my clients, like, you're not taking a product. Like, this is a bunch of plant spirits in this bottle that they're going to change how you think, how you feel, how you are. Then you can start unraveling your healing, but you first have to acknowledge what you're taking. Because as humans, we like to be seen, heard, and validated.
For sure.
Same as the plants.
Yeah, that makes sense. I always say that everything has its own resonance of energy, right? So when you're thinking about that, it's got its own life force. And so what can this life force help you with and how could it benefit you? Do you also have some other ways of looking at things too when it comes to like people doing, let's say, ayahuasca when they're just constantly doing it and then there's no actual integration and there's no actual changing your reality and falling right back into the same behavioral patterns after you've done, I don't know, a few ceremonies. And I've met people like that, which just causes more like it rewounds you. And I do think too, when you work with plants, you're called to. I feel like sometimes there's a calling so that your energy can align with those like medicinal aspects of things like the microdosing or ayahuasca. Because I do think like the people who are called to use those types of medicinal aspects have a higher purpose, a higher calling than just doing a ceremony and then getting right back into the routine of whatever that process is. And there's a reason for that, I think. I look at it from both perspectives to a degree. But did you ever do ayahuasca or microdosing or anything along those things as part of your awakening? Have you worked with shamans? Because I'm a shaman, so I work in a completely different energy, but I don't do plant-based stuff. So it's like a little different than going through the ceremonial process aspect of things. But what was your journey with that?
So I've done psilocybin, ayahuasca, 5-MeO, DMT, Campbell. I think that's it. And they all have something different to offer. But yeah, that completely just opened door to everything. For me, it felt like the key that I was missing. And I liked how you said people think that they could just do ceremony after ceremony. But we always say doing the ceremony is the easiest part. The actual work is the integration. And you have to be willing to really sit with yourself and sit with the teachings and the visions that came to you, or else you didn't actually benefit from what the plant needs you to unravel.
I've had people come to me who have done these ceremonies and they're even more fragmented than before they went into it. And I've had to, because that's what I do. I do the trauma work aspect of things. And so I'm always like, okay, you went and did this like a couple of times and it hasn't integrated and you haven't changed these types of behavior patterns. And now you've just caused even more fragmentation because it was just somebody told you to go do it instead of it being a calling to you. Like I always say, it's you can hear it. Your soul's going to know. There's going to be an echo. There is going to be some form of a calling. These energies are calling towards us no matter what the circumstances are, right? And I've had to work with a lot of clients on that level and integrate that trauma because they just left it sitting there.
So
It's actually a huge problem right now.
I agree. It is a massive problem. People have to start understanding that there has to be a level of respect when you're working with this type of energy.
Because it's also exciting, right? Like you're seeing things that are brand new, and like the colors, the way things move. I get it. It could be super exciting to want to back into another ceremony. But then you miss the whole teaching.
Yeah.
So what's the right way to do it? Because and also
I
who's the
think it's
good
called-
candidate?
No, I'm telling you, it's a calling.
I thought I was called, and then I did psilocybin, did nothing for me. I did 3 grams. It was
And
like,
you didn't
okay,
have
cool.
no visions.
Like, I've had
So when she went and she did it, it didn't need necessarily
I
serve you.
didn't see anything new. I didn't
Right.
really come out. I didn't feel like I needed to do it again, and I didn't feel like I found an aspect of myself that I was not aware of before.
Maybe it was just a validation. Maybe you did it to validate your progress. Maybe that's the
Maybe.
purpose of it. Sometimes too.
But
Maybe there is an element of that.
Why am I not getting this experience?
When you do a ceremony, you get what you need and not
Yes.
what you want. And so maybe you had something that you already knew that you've been working on because the mushrooms were like, hey, sit in this longer.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people, they're like, oh, they want this big breakthrough. But it's not always about that.
No, it isn't. And sometimes it's not going to unlock that for you either. There's that area too where sometimes I'm not going to just open that if you've never had the awareness that you were sexually abused. It doesn't want to hurt you. It want to cause that pain. But if it's created the opening for you, then like you said, it's a problem right now where a lot of people are doing it, but they're not integrating. And I do feel, again, it goes back to it's a calling. Something is calling to you to do it, just like you were called to do it. And now you're actually serving in some way, some form. You're being of service to it as well, which is the reason why it called to you, the reason why you felt drawn to it, the reason, like, I don't feel called to it whatsoever. But that doesn't mean I don't feel called to work with certain plants. And it doesn't feel like I don't feel called. There was a period in my life where all I wanted to work with was dandelion root. I was obsessed. I was like, I need to drink tea. This has got to be part of my routine. I didn't know why, but it was like or elderberry. Like I remember elderberry was calling to me. And I was like, I need to incorporate elderberry. But for me, it's more tea based. I like to drink the medicinal teas instead of actually like taking a microdose of something.
We put like psilocybin and ayahuasca on such and still, but I just want to clarify that you can gain so much awareness and insights by even just having dandelion.
Exactly. That's what I want people to understand. That right there is the most valid point. It's like, it doesn't have to be this massive ceremony that you're putting your energy in just to say that you did it and that now you're healed or that you integrated, which we know most people
When it
haven't.
happens, integration takes a long time.
Oh, it's years of that. Years.
But can we clarify this or like maybe just make it a little bit more actionable for people when you say that like even dandelion can? What do we mean by that? So you drink it and then what? Are you encouraged to meditate then? Like how can we work with?
As an example for myself, when I worked with dandelion, it was because I was going through a period in my life where I felt that I needed to detox some things in my experiences. And I just felt drawn to dandelion tea. And I was like, I just feel like I've got so much repressed anger and I don't know where to place this anger right now. And I know that this plant is calling to me and I need to work with dandelion. And dandelion tea is a detox tea for the liver. And it wasn't even like I understood it at the time, but at the time when I started to drink it, I was like, I get you want me to find a way to process my anger in a different way where it's not harming my physical liver. Because when you're angry and you don't know where to place it, sometimes it's going to impact you. Elderberry, I was like drawn to it because I was going through a spiritual awakening. I was moving past, let's say, just the mediumship, and I was starting to do more levels of working with extraterrestrial DNA stuff. So elderberry became a nurturing aspect for me. It felt like very self-soothing, and it felt like my third eye really needed it. And so I wanted to work with it. But that's the only way that I look at it. It could just be as simple as working with drinking a tea, a herbal specific tea, chamomile alone, chamomile tea.
Wow.
Like,
Chamomile.
right? If I've had a week or a day, every evening I know that I'm having my chamomile tea. Like I have to.
I'm huge with that. Have chamomile every single night.
Yes.
Life will change.
Yes.
Boom.
I feel like that regulating, that self-soothing, that decompression of stress. I'm just like, I need my chamomile tea. And then I'm a big green tea drinker. I love green tea. Like I'm obsessed, but that's because I don't drink coffee. So that's my only way of getting my caffeine fix.
So I have a question for Jessica.
Yes.
What are some of the herbs that we are like sleeping on right now that we should be incorporating more?
That's a very
Into our-
fun question because I say that every plant is my favorite. But I do see something that we are sleeping on that's literally right in front of our face all the freaking time is chamomile.
And so what does that do for the body? Chamomile tea specifically.
So it completely makes our nervous system feel safe. And we are always like exciting our nervous system through using our phones, drinking caffeine. So we're always wired. And when people start having a regulated nervous system, they're like, oh, I feel tired. But it's not that you're feeling tired. This is what it's like to feel peace.
Ah, that's a good way of
That's
looking at
what-
that. Yes, that makes sense. So I guess me saying I'm tired just means I'm feeling peaceful.
There's a difference, right? Have you ever felt peaceful? Have you ever talked more slowly? Have you ever moved slowly? Are you always rushing?
Urgency over here.
I drink my chamomile tea. Thank you very much.
Joke because it was sometimes we talk about with Ivana, there's always an urgency. I'm like, calm down. It's okay. Slow it down. It's all good. We're going to get there.
So if we are living in this world where everybody's overstimulated, our adrenals are through the roof, what are some other herbs that you would recommend?
So an adrenal gland restorative that I love to use is licorice root.
Okay.
But if someone's on pharmaceutical medications as well, do not have licorice root. I love it so much because it's sweet. So instead of adding honey to your tea, you just add some licorice root. I like using that for my clients that are stressed out through the roof. They're talking quickly, they're moving quickly, there's urgency. So I love using that. I also love using skullcap because it completely stops you in your tracks and forces you to slow the hell down. You can't fight it. Yeah, skullcap
Nice.
is beautiful. Even the way it grows, its petals are all like organized in like the same level. And that's what it does to your brain. It's like it categorizes your thoughts into their own compartments. That way there's no urgency to think of them all at once.
Would that help with someone who has like ADHD or neurodivergent? That would make sense. There you go, people. If you have ADHD or you're neurodivergent, this is a good one to maybe consider.
What about anxiety and like general anxiety, intrusive thoughts, things like that? Is there anything that can help?
Skullcap would be another one as well, but it's like, why are you feeling anxious? Like, why do you not feel safe in your environment to move with grace?
Yeah.
Why be
Sorry,
there,
drama.
right? And you can't get better in the environment you got sick in. So if it's family, if it's a partner,
It's
Right.
also, you have to evaluate. Again, it goes back into the integrative work. You also have to look at your circumstances to see what your personal stressors are so that you have the awareness that the reason why I'm incorporating this right now is to support me while I'm integrating and healing and changing my perspective and my reality. And sometimes the plant itself is going to do it for you. It's going to start the initiation of that as well. Like you may not know why you want that type of tea or that type of herb or that type of like little capsule that comes in a herb form as well to incorporate it within your existence. And then all of a sudden it starts to branch out, transitioning you, making you different. Two, I think what people don't understand is like we are energy. So if I'm drinking like chamomile tea, I'm shifting my vibration whether I like it or not. And so that is also something that you're going to feel from me. It's creating that resonance, that energy, that tone, so that it starts to change the environment as well that you're operating in.
Yeah. And do clients ever come to you wanting, do you ever consult them on how to be a little bit more in tune with themselves to even figure out intuitively what would they be drawn to? So as Christina said, she was called to these certain plants. Say if I'm in a healthy planet and I'm just like walking the aisles, right? Because I feel like one of the biggest issues of today is this connection.
Yes, you're very valid with that. Yeah, I like to have people, so sometimes I'll walk them through a meditation, bringing them back to their childhood. And then by the end of it, I have them think about a flower, any flower, but don't think about it too long. Just think of a flower, a color, boom, what is it? And sometimes they don't even know the name, but I'm here trying to piece together to find out what it is.
So you're holding a deck of cards right there. You're
Yeah.
holding your deck of cards. So what are these decks of cards that you work with?
So they're a herbal astrology deck, and they're just so beautiful.
Oh, love that. They are gorgeous.
Yes.
So why don't, how would you work with that? Because I work with oracle cards too sometimes. Most of the time I'm channeling information quite frequently. But sometimes I like to pull cards for my clients here and there. If I'm doing like a quick little read or whatever, or sometimes if I feel like I'm like the client is stuck in something, I'll pull something out just to kind of be like, okay, this is the direction we're going in. So if you were to use that, how would you, maybe you want to pick a couple of cards for us today just to see what kind of herbs or what would attune to us in some way. That would be cool.
But how do you incorporate them in your work?
Yeah.
Sure. Put that one down. So normally the roles are reversed here. I'm the one taking the lead of the Zoom call or the session. And I don't like to get too lost in the sauce, right? Like,
Yeah,
you
of
know,
course.
go into deep conversation, and that's healing. But I'm here to find a 1,000-piece puzzle. That's how I explain this to people.
Right.
1,000-piece puzzle, and I'm here trying to find all the pieces. Understand what it's like to have your body. And so just in conversation, I will pull cards, which will then help me either ask another question, change topics, maybe see how do you need purification in your life, like how anything, like it just could redirect me in the way that will help me get more puzzle pieces.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Guide. Yeah.
Like a guide, but also helping you zone in on the areas that you need to be energetically working on, which
Yes.
is like helping, because like you said, like everyone is like a puzzle piece, so much energy and so much that they want to understand about themselves. Like I know even when I'm doing a reading myself, I'm like, okay, I have to hone this, like I got to pull this in, and this is where you're at right now. This is where you're at right now. And so that I like how you're saying like, yeah, you're pulling these cards out so that you have a good way of getting the direct clarity that you need to be able to help them bring that piece to them, connect with them.
Yes. And when you were asking about the cards, I did pull you the card.
Oh, great.
And by no coincidence, we got-
Dandelion. Look at that. That's so funny. Oh my God. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, the dandelion tea. Yes, I do feel I've been thinking about it the last little while, which again feels like a calling, tuning to. And I have had so much happen to me within the last year and a half that I genuinely do feel like I need to detox. Like I feel it. Like I need to just clear my energy. And it has been energetically happening, but I also feel within my body as well. Because I have been very angry the last year with all the things that have happened. So yeah, that makes complete sense to me.
And dandelion is the wounded healer.
Yeah.
So whenever we are in a position of service to helping others, we need to take dandelion because there's physical things we have to detox from, but there's also energetic things
Yes.
we have to detox from.
Yes.
So dandelion helps with that, but even just having water around you when you do sessions with people, because we're absorbing toxins in
Yes.
ways.
Absolutely. Yes. Makes complete sense. Yeah. It's so
And
funny.
there's a reason why dandelion grows everywhere.
Yes. It's resilient. I said that all the time. I was just telling you, we were having that conversation. I'm like, no one would have survived what I went through the last year and a half. I'm like the resiliency, and I'm still here and I'm still growing and I'm still doing what I need to be doing. And dandelion, yeah, Love that plant.
Did anything come out for me?
What is it? What was that herb that we?
The St. John's wort.
Yeah.
I love St. John. Okay, so I got cordyceps, which is
Ooh.
okay. When this plant comes up, I could be wrong, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. Take what you need and leave what doesn't.
Mhm.
But it's almost like you're looking or needing another breakthrough in your life. Cordyceps grows out of a bug's head, and that's how our breakthroughs are. It's like it comes out of our body and out our head. So cordyceps is asking you, how can you revive a certain aspect of yourself so
Mhm.
that you have a breakthrough?
I mean, yeah, I think that you're learning, the reason why I'm saying, yeah, because I'm like excited to hear it. I'm always excited to hear stuff like this because I feel like I like, these are my people. So for you, I feel like, yeah, that makes sense because she's also very mental too. You have to understand, like for Ivana, it's all, can you give me a step-by-step process? Can you give me and I'm like, sometimes it's not a step-by-step process, Ivana. It's just going through it and moving through it and not knowing what the outcome of the experience is going to be to give you the breakthrough, to make you go, that makes sense, right? And I like that.
Yeah.
That one feels good to me.
It comes out of a bug's head. And how do you take that? Because I'll Google that afterwards. Is it like a pill form? Because you said it's a mushroom.
So I don't like taking anything in pill form because
Okay.
it's not actually extracted. You're just eating the lettuce.
Oh,
So
okay.
tea, I guess, then?
So tea would be like a water infusion. So
Okay.
are extracting the water soluble constituents, right? Or tincture, you're extracting other constituents. But tea is the best form of medicine. We always think that it's tinctures because they're made with alcohol or vinegar, but we're water. We're like 90 something percent water. So the best way for us to take medicine is through a water infusion. So if you can have a tea, it won't taste good by itself, but
Right.
you have a cool little blend in a tea, magic.
I
Nice.
love
Okay.
that. So
I will
true.
try that.
I'm a big tea drinker. I love drinking my tea, but it makes sense because like with all the work that I do consistently and I'm always healing and integrating stuff and I'm always carrying a tea with me. I'm always drinking a tea. I need to drink more water, but have my
Green tea.
Yeah, here's my chamomile. I've been drinking it. I've had 2 glasses today so far.
Right. But it also matters like where the plant, like how it was grown from.
Okay, I'm gonna pay closer attention to that too. I
Yeah.
do feel you're right because it goes back to what you said, like from where you're from, the region you're from, your culture, the background, like all of that. I'm like, I've never even considered it, and you're absolutely right. Okay, fine, but if it's a possibility, then yeah, I'm gonna incorporate more of that for sure.
Even to add another layer deeper, it's what companies are we buying from? How old has the herb been sitting on the shelf for? Aren't medicinal themselves.
Right.
They treat it like a commodity. So now that chamomile that you got from the health food store is nowhere near the medicinal grade if it was grown with love, intention, and for the purposes of medicine.
Right. That makes a difference too, that aspect. So getting them maybe loose tea leaves, that would probably be better. Hopefully. We do live in a big city, Jess. I'm just saying. There's only so much we can do.
Try your best. I'm very, I guess the word you could call me is anal, where the plants come from. And I have big trust issues because I've seen how dark and black the market is for herbs. And natural healing is really being tainted with right now.
Okay.
And when people get sick, they go to the health food store and then nothing actually gets better for them because, again, they're buying from industries that are sick themselves.
That makes sense too.
Is there anything else for the collective in terms of
What would be like something that you would recommend collectively right now that would be really
based on
great?
the energy?
I think I often ask for myself too collectively when I'm tapping into the energy of what's going on. So what would be something that everybody you think that from a collective level would help individuals since we're going through so many transitions right now? Planetary, I mean, you do astrology as well, you said, correct?
Just plant astrology, I don't too much, but for the collective, maybe it's more like a reminder Are you doing what you love? Are you moving with grace? And are you speaking with intention?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. If you were to pull a card, what would show up? Let's see what would show up collectively.
Collective.
I love when we work with cards because they're always accurate, whether we like it or not. Even where I'm like, I don't think so. Ooh.
Oh, no, they're all
But look at that too. For those of you who are not watching on YouTube, I'll describe the card to you. It's like this beautiful woman off to the side who's got like literally medicines all around her. She's surrounded by plants, beautiful mountains, and then the wolf, the spirit animal, the wolf is there too. It's just coming back to natural ways of looking at life and experiences. So maybe you can explain that to the collective or the individuals who are listening.
So arnica is actually a herb that we cannot ingest.
It's just a way of being.
I use it for bruises. Yeah.
It's for like pain management.
Okay.
The lesson that arnica offers is how can you be a teacher for those around you? So I guess the message to the collective is preach what you know, follow your intuition and preach it, be the teacher, because you're a ripple effect. You're the seed and you could plant in other people's gardens by leading with this teacher essence. If you know something and you know what's wise and important, then teach it.
I love that collectively. Yeah. And then also just coming back to natural ways of being and coming back to ourselves, home, which I think is a beautiful message overall. Jessica, I wanted to thank you. This was a beautiful experience today. I'm so glad that we got to connect and so glad that we got to have this conversation. We will link everything so people can find you on IG and on website. And if anyone wants to book an appointment with you, I encourage it. We're so in tuned and it was great having you on here
What
today.
different perspective.
I really enjoyed it so much, Jessica. Thanks guys for tuning in.